Okay, guys, now we're gonna talk about the racket, the height of the racket when you have it ready on the backswing and your shoulders rotating. One thing that I found out is that I used to prepare my forehand bringing the racket lower, but I did generate power, but I always felt like there was more energy there that I wasn't using. I felt like when I was exploding for that forehand, I could still hit the ball harder, but I just didn't know what was going on. So I started experimenting with different things. And one of the things that I found out, and this is specifically watching Del Potro, Juan Martín Del Potro from Argentina, was that you're gonna notice, and if you're gonna notice it on him and some other players as well, is that they prepare and they bring the racket higher here. He prepares our racket high, shoulder height. Some players bring it a little lower or shoulder height. You know, it's a little bit of variation here, but most of them is pretty much they go more or less to the same height. Some of them go more like that, like this. Don't worry about that right now. What we're focusing is really on the grip of the racket, the height of the grip or your hand, and compared to the shoulder. So if you prepare more or less a shoulder height, your swing is gonna go a longer swing, which allows your racket to gain more speed. So the difference that makes is that it's like racing a car. If you race a car along 100 yards, let's say, you can get probably from 0 to 120 miles per hour, let's say. But if you race that car in 200, instead of going 100 yards, you go to 200 yards, that car can gain much more speed by the time it gets to 200. You probably get to 200 miles per hour, 190, something like that, just as an example. So the idea is that if I'm gonna make contact with that ball, let's say right here, and my preparation is it's just from down here, and I swing, by the time I get to that ball, I'm not gonna be able to generate as much speed as I can generate from up here. It's a longer swing, and it's also it's gonna help me generate more speed on the racket with my snap. So pay attention to how far you bring that racket. Eventually you will learn to adjust it to not go so low when that ball is coming really fast, or when the ball is coming really low and not preparing so high. But don't worry about that. Right now, the thing that we want to pay attention to is get that racket ready high up here, and you want to pay attention also to your right shoulder. Come in here, and when you go, you got to feel that the hips go and the right shoulder is got to go too, moving forward. But just to start, when you're getting ready, careful with this. Just bring the arm a little higher and always relax the hand on the grip. So that's going to help you generate more speed. That's going to let your muscles not to be stressed, and that's going to help you with the snap as well. With the snap creates a whip. It's like a whiplash that we use the arm, to hit the ball harder. So pay attention to the height of the racket there. You want to go for a longer swing, so by the time you get to that ball, the racket generates more speed. Okay, guys? All right, let's move on to the next point.